Okay. I'm about to jump into this My Hero Academia chapter. I'm doing this on viz.com/. Shonen Jump. Like if you yourself want to actually look at it, the link is in the description below. Feel free to read as I speak. This is a live reaction, so this is a first time read. I'm not looking at any leaks or anything. So, as you can say here, the next chapter is also coming out later, just like how Black Clover is coming out in 15 days. This is coming out on the 3rd of June. Not June. That would be bad. 3rd of January 2022. So it's coming in the new year. So it's based to assume that every chapter from here on out is releasing after 2022. So this is probably the last chapter for 2021. Like, okay, so yeah, let's get into it. This is chapter 338 of My Hero Academia. Let's give it a look. Okay, so of course now a bit of a flashback into 337. This is where we find out the traitor. Of course, I have my reservations about if Aoyama is the only traitor, because we know the reason why he's the traitor is because he didn't have a quirk growing up, and then he just got a quirk from All for One. So now we see this. Okay, like let's look at it. Let's give it a proper look. Um, okay, I like this. Page one. This is very good because now we're starting to see the degree of seriousness in this whole situation. Midoriya isn't dictating what's going on. So like even if Aoyama regrets everything that's happening, Midori can't just come out and say, "Hey, you're on our side again. Wanna be one of us again?" Like you can't do that, especially knowing that this man is the reason for a lot of mishaps in the Heroverse. In the association, he's responsible for a lot that's going on because he's a spy. He's been working with All for One. Everything that happened, whether it be the Bakugou kidnapping, whether it be the attack at the forest, at the training camp. Everything that happened was because of Aoyama. The introduction of Shigaraki was through Aoyama, from what we see so far. And now the police detective is actually telling us, hey, yo, listen, even if this guy is here, we're not holding hands. Even if he says he's going to change, we're not going to fold. We're not going to be like, hey, yo, everything is fine. Just come join the ranks again. You know where the shower is. Don't worry about it. This is serious. This is the adults talking. This isn't Midoriya having to change up the whole situation. This is not a Naruto trying to change an Obito and join our side type of thing. That's not how it works. This is the adults talking. So now we see that they also aware and remember the fact that if this man says another word, he could blow up. So let's stop this man from speaking entirely. Let's stop Aoyama from revealing anything else because from here on out, we don't know what the trigger word or trigger sentence will be for All for One to blow this man up. We don't know. That's the honest truth over here is we don't know. And we can see that Midoriya is actually looking he's tear jerked right now. Like he doesn't want. Like, bro, you can see he's holding back anger and everything. So and the detective is like, hey, yo, man, I feel for you, to be honest. I feel for you. That's from the top of page two. So let's actually look through the rest. Okay, so right here, Midori is out here going to use his logic to try and fix the situation, to try and get his way about it. But it's safe to say that Midoriya, even though he's gotten a power up, even though he himself has gone through some sort of character development, he went through that whole Batman stage and stuff like that. He's still very naive because he doesn't see how serious this is. He wants everyone to be together again. Even though Ayama is the spy here, and it's confirmed that he is the spy here, he's really trying to use reason to get Ayama onto our side. So now he's talking about numbers and everything. And of course, numbers are good. When it comes to a full scale fight, you need as much people as possible. We don't know if a fight will turn out like what 1-0 is right now. Like even if you have 8,000 versus 20,000, you don't know if the numbers will dwindle. Because right now, All for One did so much damage to the Hero Association, dropped numbers. Powerful people are out of the fight now. Names being like Stars and Stripes, and we still don't have an All for One. We don't have a Lemillion. We don't have those people, and there's still people who just retired from being heroes. So the numbers are looking bad. So that's why Midori is using such a argument such as numbers, and it's very valid. But we don't even know if those numbers are on our side because we see now that there's a spy. We know there's a spy. Ayam is a spy. His parents are spies too. They're all working with All for One, and we don't know who else is. Invisible could be the other spy. We don't know. We don't know if even Detective himself is a spy. We don't know all the spies yet, so we can't even count on numbers. And I feel like Midoriya is forgetting that. Okay, next page. Like they starting to think, hey, this is how we could defeat him. But now at the same time, Mr. Mike himself is busy saying, guys, you're the biggest victims. Can you really trust this man? And really, the question is, can you really trust him? Ayama can't even trust himself. He says himself that I'm a despicable villain. He's not saying I'm willing to change. He's saying I'm a despicable villain. Who can oppose All for One? Who can deceive him? I mean, if you look at what happened with Lady Nagant, she couldn't deceive him. She got blown up. We don't know if she's dead or alive. She got blown up. She's in ICU, bro. It's serious. So now we don't even know what fruit can be born from Aoyama. We don't like that's the honest truth right now. And they starting to think that we have the advantage here, but let me carry on reading. Okay. Let me stop before I say anything about what Bakugou is saying. Okay, so now class rep Ida is out here busy vouching and saying, "Hey, as our friend, we need to know how serious he is. We need to be able to bring him back to us." And although this is a great rallying speech, and any other person would be able to be swayed like this, is that enough? Like, let's be honest here. Is this really enough? Because we look at what my kid's expression, he's like, bro, you kids, I've been through this. Myself and Azawa, we were through this. Our teammate, our best friend, turned into one of All for One's lackeys. I've seen this. You don't understand that he can't deceive him. He can't deceive All for One. What makes Aoyama different from what we've been through? What makes you think that? And you see all of them are getting ready and stuff like that. But let's look at what Bakugou says. Okay. So now we're looking at this, and Bakugou's thinking, if I just hurt him a little, we'll be even again. Like five blasts should be enough. And of course you have the homie himself, Mr. Harder. You know, Red Riot himself is busy saying, "Hey, you did this because of your parents. You did this to protect your parents, right? So if that's the reason, then we know you're on our side, right?" Okay, I guess we're looking at it through that area. But now I feel like there's a big difference in morality and thinking between Class 1A and the adults here. The adults here see the clear cut facts, but Class 1A is busy thinking of this in a very biased manner. As long as we get the family together, everything will be cool. So now I have a question. Would they still be thinking about this if Kamino didn't happen? If they only found out about this later? If Bakugou either sided with All for One or died by the hands of All for One? Would this still be the thought process of the kids? Because even though they've been through a war, they've seen deaths and stuff like that, they still haven't matured yet. They've experienced a lot of heartache, but they still haven't matured yet. This is the first trailer that they've been looking at. We don't know what's going to happen from here. And they thinking that by siding with people, by having everyone together like one big happy family, things would change. But we can't even say that for sure. Okay, okay. So the detective is still the one with the level head here, and that's good. Um, what I have a problem with, Mr. Red Rat himself is out here busy comparing someone being quirkless and keeping a secret about it to a person, an actual spy who could have actually who caused a lot of danger for Class 1A and the academy and the association itself. He's a traitor. There's a difference between being a traitor and being quirkless, right? Am I the only one who's not seeing that there's a difference here? Because if they weighing these at an equal level, to what extent are we gonna give Ayama an out? You know, like as you can see right now, I'm not for this level of thinking because if you look at it, it's basically the kids are letting this happen. You know, the kids are running the show, and you see with um, Eraserhead himself, Aizawa, he's busy saying, "I have no intention of expelling this kid." Okay, cool, that's fine. Let's not forget that Aizawa has a connection with Ayama too. He's the teacher. He's been watching him for the past 6 months, 6 to a year. But we don't know if that's all being deceit. We don't know Ayama's actual personality. We just know him for being a spy and the persona he put up. Detective puts it out, guys. Let's not forget. He puts it out saying we don't like no like all for one can detect if someone is lying. So whichever plan they need will have to be big brained to be able to deceive the man who's literally the antagonist of the entire show. He has connections around the place. We don't know who the other spies could be if Ayama was even the only spy, you know. Invisible could be that other spy, like I mentioned, and this could all go to waste. This could all be a trap, and someone would die. Ayama would be the person dying. And of course, if that's the case, we know that someone's gonna blame himself. Midoriya is gonna blame himself, put himself in a whole hell spiral because it's like we put him in this danger. I can't believe I got my own classmate killed. I'm sorry, Aoyama. I can predict that being said. So now let's not forget the implications and the threat All for One is, and the fact that there's still more spies. He said he has many friends. Just because one friend revealed himself, there's still many more. We don't know who the other spies are. You know what I mean? So yeah, right now it's a matter of they being very, very childish with how they're handling the situation. If anything, of course you're gonna believe in your friend. Of course you're gonna be doing that. But looking at it as an adult, looking at it as logical as possible, the fact still remains that he's a spy. And as a spy, you have to keep your guard up. They're gonna put their guard down in time. They busy saying we can trust him again, we can do this, we can do that. But understand, trust is harder to gain back, to regain than it is once lost. Let's look at this. Okay, it looks like the detective folded. The principal and his big brain folded too, right? They covered the ears and everything, so now it's assumed that All for One can't hear anything because of the situation. But understand that this is not only his ears. We don't know if like if he's in charge of other senses. If All for One could see the situation through their eyes, it's as good as done. And he can assume the worst from here on out. Because they covered the ears only after the class had spoken. So now we can say with all honesty, and we can assume that All for One knows what's going on by now. We can assume that. It's a good assumption. And right now they're gonna check to where each place was bugged to make sure that All for One still doesn't have the hit on them through the spots that he might have some sort of surveillance. See now, this is wild. This is wild. Now we see a level of vagueness in what Invisible is saying here. That's a powerful thing to say. This will bring him down. We don't know who he is. we're all assuming that this is all for one we talking about. I'm still sticking to my theory on the fact that Physical is a traitor. We don't know who he is. Which him is she talking about? Is she talking about all for one? Or is she talking about the vessel of one for all, Midoriya? We don't know. We just see that they fired up and ready to take action. People are going to do upgrades and fix their outfits and everything because they feel like this is a big war and they have all the reason to because it is. It is. This is up to them because right now they're a major part of the hero side. A lot of the heroes, as stated earlier, have retired. People have retired. People have went against the heroes. They still have to worry about the Liberation Army. They still have to worry about the villains. They still have to worry about who the next spies could be. They're not thinking about that though. They're only thinking about the first two I've mentioned. Next page. Okay. Okay, it's good. It's good to see our girl from Class 1C. It's good to see the equipment specialist coming to do some repairs and stuff like that. There's a dead stare in Midoriya's eyes. He's serious. He's serious. You know what I mean? Even though he just got a door blown to his face, which isn't the first time. You know, we love her, bro. She's like one of the best waifus in the thing. You know what I mean? Even though she's a support character, literally, you know, it's good to see that they someone taking this seriously, even though they're not really acknowledging the weight of keeping Ayam on their side. You know, they're gonna do some upgrades and stuff like that, and that's what it is. But usually Midoriya would be embarrassed about being under someone's breasts, but now it's like, oh, okay. I'm still serious though. I'm dead staring into those. But you know, that's basically what's going on in this chapter. The chapter's done. You know, these 15 pages have told us a lot. Told us the stance of where Class 1A and Aizawa are, and the stance of where the adults are. So it's expected that the principal and the detective could have a contingency plan for if this were to fail. You know, they could have, I don't know if they dark enough, but could have additional bombs placed on them in case they betray us, blow them up too, or have their guards up and like, you know, have a contingency plan in case things get even worse and there's a spy. But they haven't yet mentioned that. Maybe the principal has some sort of idea. It's safe to say that the principal's intellect and All for One's intellect is somewhat of a comparable level. We can't say that they're equal or one's above the other. We can just say it's comparable. Let's just see what happens from here on out, right? Still looking into it. Anyways, this is all I can say about MHA chapter 338. You know, next chapter is gonna be in Jan the 3rd. So yeah, let's go Taru signing out. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I did it again.